All right. I think we'll start the session. It's already just past 10. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ineffective and poor communication can lead to many undesired outcomes, such as misunderstandings, disagreements, and may include a delay in completing projects, misperformance goals, and even lost sales. I have managed teams, organizations, and companies for more than 25 years, and definitely communication plays an important and crucial role. Good morning, everyone. Assalamu alaikum, a warm welcome and thank you. I am Haji Muhammad Sofian. I am the co-founder and co-owner and principal consultant of Litual Management Services, Brunei, which has been established since 2010. Through Litual Management Services, we have helped many companies, organizations, and teams to effectively implement various important skills and tools such as leadership skills, strategic planning, SWOT analysis, and as well as safety and health management. Today, through this preview session on VCTF, or Visual Communication Through Freehand, we will be exploring what VCTF is and how it can benefit you in making your communication better and effective. Ladies and gentlemen, today with me are the experts in VCTF, Dr. Ruzaimi Makrani and Coach Amirul Iskandar Manan. On this VCTF program, on this online Zoom platform, let me just welcome everybody once again, and a reminder on the safety of being online, and make sure you have enough data for the whole session of 1 hour or so. And if you're using your company's internet, please make sure you understand the guidelines and the policies. And make sure you're seated comfortably, avoid eye strain, keep the distance of your screen, and adjust the volume of your headset if you're using one, so that you can hear the surroundings during the course of this segment. And if you're at home, please make sure that your family are safe. And if you have children, make sure there's somebody with them. And wherever you are, make sure you know your evacuation routes, exits, and assembly points of your location. Yeah. So here we are with regards to miscommunication, how VCTF can actually help us to save money, as well as to be much more effective in our communication overall. So I'll hand over to Coach Amirul. He will be presenting, and supporting him, Dr. Ruzaimi, if you have any questions. Yeah, so over to you, Coach Amirul.
Alhamdulillah. All right, so today is basically an introduction that we want to share with you all, an introduction to Visual Communication Through Freehand, or VCTF. So hopefully today everyone is here with a growth mindset, because the purpose for today is more of sharing, So we want to make sure that this 1 hour or so will be productive and will be beneficial for you. So basically, VCTF, or Visual Communication Through Freehand, the training that we are doing is about 12 hours. It's a 2-day program, all right, with 4 modules. It includes fundamental, visualize, create, and simplify. All right, for the purpose of today is just 1 hour, just to give you an overview of what VCTF can do and how VCTF can enhance, your communication and increase productivity. All right. So that is the purpose of today. So I would encourage for you guys to take notes, and then at the end, if you have any questions, please, please ask us. Yeah. Okay. So this is the master plan regarding effective communication through visual. We have 3 phases. Right, so each phase there's a 2-day training program. Okay, so the first part that we want to do first is the freehand part. All right, and then from freehand we'll go to freehand with digital, and eventually we'll go to the digital platform. So when we are talking about freehand, it's more on instant communication. So this is very important. I need everyone here to understand. We are not focusing on comprehensive communication, but we are focusing more on instant communication. Yeah. All right. So a little bit about me. All right. So basically, education-wise, I'm an electrical engineer. All right. But I've not been practicing for so long. I'm more into training nowadays. Right. As Haji mentioned, I'm the CEO of a foundation in Malaysia. But most of the time, we are doing this training together with Dr. Ruzaimi. Yeah. So the most important person today is actually the founder of VCTF. My good friend, Dr. Ruzaimi. He's actually my schoolmate. So I just want to share a bit of history so that you understand where I'm coming from and why I'm doing the sharing today. Okay. So Dr. Ruzaimi and myself, we went to the same school, but he was my senior, at least 1 year senior. And I never saw him for 26 years. So I met up with him in 2018. At that point in time, I was already doing trainings. I was going to universities, I did some corporate trainings and whatnot. At that point in time, when I was doing training, it's more of just doing slide presentation, having activities to get the participants to participate and understand. But I've never used freehand, using a whiteboard to draw or anything like that. I've never used that. So when I sat down with him, and he showed me VCTF or visualization through freehand, it opened my mind, it blew my mind. So since then, I've been following him, from 2018, I've attended his training. So I became a trainer. And for me, it's so effective. So I've adopted this in my organization. So every time when we go for meetings, when we do trainings, before I go there, the first thing that I ask them, do you have a whiteboard? If not, at least a piece of paper. Because the ability to draw, to put your ideas on paper is so powerful. Yeah, it's so powerful. So I am so blessed that I got to meet Dr. Ruzaimi again, and then from there, the rest is history lah. Today I'm here with you sharing. Yeah, Alhamdulillah, with Dr. Ruzaimi, he has trained more than 8,000 people all over Malaysia. As Haji Sofyan mentioned, he has a PhD in visual impact assessment. He has published a lot of books, and some of his books are available internationally. Even one book is translated into Japanese. So he knows this subject matter. He is truly an expert in this subject matter, and he's also the founder of drawzenia.com. So Alhamdulillah, throughout the years, since 2015, we have been conducting this training. We have conducted trainings for every level of society, even royalty. You never know. If you have contacts with Sultan of Brunei, we can go there also to do this, because the Raja Muda of Perlis attended our training for 2 days, and he was impressed. Trained, Alhamdulillah, Allah given us the opportunity to share with various organizations, including corporates, governments, agencies, universities, and whatnot. So just to share, one of our biggest clients was Ministry of Finance Malaysia. We've trained more than 200 staff of Ministry of Finance. So they are now adopting VCTF in their daily communications and operations. All right. So these are some more examples of where we've done our programs. So Dr. Ruzaimi has also been featured in newspapers. He's been on the TV, promoting this VCTF all over Malaysia. And Alhamdulillah, recently we've got inquiries from Singapore, Indonesia, and of course, we hope that Brunei will be the first international location where we'll conduct this VCTF training. Okay, the focus domain for VCTF, all right, is basically on communication. Okay. So if you look on the slides, right, every day we go through this process in anything we do in life. We think, we communicate, and we implement. Would you agree? Yeah. So we are not going to touch about thinking. When we talk about VCTF, it's not about thinking. It's not about the implementation. It's just focusing on the communication process. Because for us, when communication breaks down, no matter how great your thinking, the implementation will fail. Agree? All right. So that's what we are focusing today. All right. Okay. We're going to do 2 exercises. So today is not about you guys listening. All right. Everybody needs to do two exercises today. Okay, so I need everyone to grab a piece of paper. Okay, I'm gonna play this video, and what I want all of you to do is take notes. Okay? So take notes from this video. All right, so I'm just gonna give you a first-hand experience with VCTF. So when I say take notes, it doesn't matter. You can write down or you want to draw it out. It's up to you. All right. So is everybody clear? Everybody ready? If you're ready, type 1 in the chat box so that I know everyone is on the same page before I start to play the video. All right. Thank you, Esther, Adi, Hafiza. Okay. All right. So we're all ready. Good? Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Peter. All right. Okay. Let's look at the video.
Visual communication is more important than ever for working professionals. Whether we're delivering external messages to customers or internal presentations to stakeholders, having visually engaging content is key. Here are 6 ways that visual communication can make your messages more successful. 1, it saves time. In a split second, it's easier to process a visual than to read a sentence. Check out this example. Here's the text, and here's the visual. Which one is easier to understand? If you want to quickly get your point across, visuals are the way to go. 2, it promotes consistency. Using the same images, logos, and colors makes it easier for your audience to identify what they're looking at. 3, it provides clarity. With text-heavy content, audiences may use their imagination to picture what we're talking about. That can lead to some unexpected results. A simple visual delivers info in a clear and unified way. 4, it increases retention. 3 days after hearing information, people can only remember 10% of what they've heard. But pair a relevant image with that same information, and retention goes up to 65%. 5, it's universally understood. If you don't speak Swedish, would you understand this traffic alert? How about now? Even if someone can't read a language, they can understand a good visual. And finally, 6, it's more impactful. Most people would rather view images, graphics, and videos versus just listening to words. Visuals stimulate the viewer's emotions, making it easier for them to connect with a message. Our devices, social media, and virtual teams are all fueling the need for visually engaging content. And luckily, the visual tools that help us create and communicate are more accessible than ever. What techniques and tools are you using? Leave a comment below and share ideas that will help your peers boost their visuals. Then head over to LinkedIn Learning and enhance your visual communication skills with our new learning path.
All right, we are done. Okay, everybody got it? Okay. All right, so normally what we would do, we would like to ask you to, snap a shot of what you wrote down, your notes, and share it. All right. So we're not going to do that today, but what this exercise always shows us is that when we start showing what we've written down, I can guarantee you that everyone will have written something different. Would you agree? Do you guys agree? Yes or yes? So this is a situation whereby, let's say the video just now was your boss or your client, or someone giving an instruction. So it could be in a discussion or a meeting or a presentation. So everyone is listening from the same source, but everyone is getting different inputs, correct? So that is the challenge when we are communicating. So with VCTF, we want to enhance and improve the communication part, all right? So now I'm going to share what is VCTF and why VCTF. Yeah. So this is VTF. All right. Before we go to VTF, we understand what is VTF. VTF stands for Visualization Through Freehand. All right. It means it's the ability to visualize ideas and draw it out on any platform. It could be on a piece of paper, on a whiteboard, or it could be on your tablet. for that matter, doesn't matter. All right. But the most important thing is all about you having an idea and you can put it on paper effectively. That is VTF. All right. So VCTF is the ability to freehand visualize and communicate the ideas to other people. So if you're looking at the diagram, yeah, you can see that A is doing the VTF. You know, he's putting it on paper. What he sees in his mind, he's putting it on paper. So then he is communicating to B, his ideas. So that is VCTF. See, a lot of people have challenges just doing VTF, putting it on paper. All right, we'll do a demo after this. All right. And the next challenge is you might be able to do it. You know, you might be able to visualize and put it on paper. But the next question is, are you communicating effectively through whatever you drew or written down on your piece of paper? So that is VCTF, visual communication through freehand. Right? That's the difference. So let's give an example. Yeah. For example, all right. So VTF. All right. You look at this picture. He wants to draw a tank, you know, in his mind. So let's say if I ask you guys, can you visualize a tank? When I say tank, what do you see? Do you see the word T-A-N-K or you can see a tank in your mind? I can guarantee you all of us will see a tank in our mind if we see the tank. All right. The challenge is, can you VTF the tank? Meaning, can you visualize through freehand and put it on paper? See, the challenge today, most of us, we cannot do it. The tank looks so different when we put it on paper. Is that correct? So the big impact on this is miscommunication. Because we cannot visualize, we tend to go to text to present our ideas. You know, we rely on text most of the time. So that's why even today, we are a visual society, we communicate. Most of the time, if you notice, we communicate, for example, using WhatsApp. We try to text our way out. You guys do that? You know, we text, and then miscommunication happens. But can you imagine if you start to draw and you accompany your drawings with text, I can guarantee you will communicate more effectively. You know, so that is the power of VCTF. Yeah. So scenario one, miscommunication. All right. You presenting with just text, blah, 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 text, because you don't have the ability to draw. You know, maybe do simple diagrams or to illustrate what you mean. All right. So most of the time, people are going, yeah, you know, you guys understand, you know, if you're doing lectures, if you're lecturing, you know, you just rely on your slides. There are people who, you know, like what I'm doing right now, slide readers, you know. So if you're just doing that, you know, after 2 hours discussion, you know, and then they go out, next week they come back and then they present to you and you get all mad because this is not what you want. You know, does that happen? You know, and then you have to call for other meetings. Because miscommunication. All right. So how many times does this happen to you in a year? And how many times does it happen in your organization? All right. This is one scenario. You go to a discussion or a meeting and this happens. Or a presentation for that matter. Second scenario. It could be you and your boss. You know, your boss calls you in. Okay, this is what I want you to do. Blah, 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 blah. All the instructions. You do this, you do that, you know. And you're trying to process everything and you're putting it on notes, you know, note taking. All right, okay, blah, 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 blah. And then after 2 hours discussion, you're still unclear what your boss wants. Does this happen? All right. Most of the time this happens, you know, and then when you come back, the boss gets angry because it's not what the boss wanted. Right? Because there's miscommunication just by, you know, talking, you know. So with freehand, you can help bridge that gap. Okay, another scenario. You have an idea, great idea, you know, but you cannot put it on paper. So you try to talk it to your boss. You know, you cannot show it to your boss. So when we can't do that, there's a lot of subjectivity. You guys get what I'm trying to convey here? Because sometimes if you just talk, you know, it's very subjective. But if you're just using diagram, it's also subjective. But if we accompany, for example, we are talking, we're giving text, we're giving diagrams, you know, or drawings, it will become more objective. All right. So these are some scenarios that happens on a daily basis, in our daily communications with, not necessarily in our office environment. It could be with our friends, our family members. Yeah. So these are things that happens all the time. So what happens? So most of the time we wasted our time. That's the thing. Something could be settled with just one meeting. We end up doing maybe 3-5 meetings on the same thing. We've wasted our energy, we've reduced our performance, reduced our productivity. And this happens all over the world. Big, small organizations, it happens. Yeah? So if you can visit www.shrm.org. Yeah? This is a human resource website where they did a survey. So it is reported that companies that employ 100,000 employees loses about 62.4 million a year. Okay? So companies with 100 employees lose about 420,000 a year. That's crazy. Just because of miscommunication. It could be because of, a bad instruction, a bad email, but most of the time it's all about miscommunication. So can you imagine how much you can help your company or your organization to save, if we can cut down on poor communication? So this is the number, this is the figure, so 100 staff, you're losing about 420K. How many of you have 100 staff? So you can prorate this, can make some simple calculations. So if you have 200 staff, it's about 840K, and of course 1,000 staff is 4.2 million. Yeah? So if you have big organizations, if you're having, like ministries of government, with so many staff, you can imagine how much we are losing on a yearly basis. Yeah. So this is another example. All right. So you can search on this, So this is companies in US and UK. Based on miscommunication is USD 37 billion in 2008. That is crazy money. Imagine what we can do with that. Okay, the other thing is regarding ESG. Yeah. So when you have miscommunication, it increases your carbon footprint. Is that correct? Right? Because instead of just doing one meeting, you have to do 3 meetings, 4 meetings, So you end up using more electricity, more resources, more paper. So carbon footprint goes up. So if you have a company that is focusing on ESG, and you want to make your company more environmentally friendly, reduce your carbon footprint, all right? So VCTF is the way to go. Because we can guarantee you will cut down, on your meetings. You will simplify your process. Because the one thing that I want to stress a lot here, our VCTF program, the most powerful part is we help you to simplify your communication. Yeah? Remember just now, it was FVCS, freehand. You learn the basics, the fundamental. You learn how to visualize. You learn how to create. At the end of our 2-day training program, you learn how to simplify. That's the most important part. That is the most powerful part. Because most of the time, we cannot simplify things. So if you can simplify things, then we have made progress, yeah, in our organizations. All right, next exercise. Everybody ready? Okay. Grab a piece of paper. All right, grab a piece of paper, maybe A4 paper, right, like this. All right, divide it into 2, okay? Right? Divide it into 2. All right, I want you to draw a pot. A pot. Yeah? On your left, draw a pot. Pastu. Just a pot. Right? Whatever comes to mind, how you visualize a pot, draw a pot. Once you've done your pot, type 1 in the chat box. Okay, fantastic. So is everybody comfortable drawing a pot? Are you good? Yes? If you are comfortable, type Y. No problem. A pot. So easy. I can draw it, in my sleep, right? A pot. Okay. Next, on your right, please draw your dream house. your dream house. Draw your dream house. Sketch out your dream house. You know, so in Malaysia, most of the time when we ask people to do this, they draw a simple house with 2 windows, 1 door, and a roof. Don't do that. That's not your dream house. Yeah, that's more like a guard house or something. We want your dream house. Draw your dream house. Okay. So as you're drawing, I want to ask you this. You know, how many feel this is more difficult? You're facing challenges. Is it difficult? Okay, Aji raised his hand. What about the others? How do you feel? You know, before I asked you to draw a pot, no problem, right? You're happy, you're smiling. And then suddenly, wow, dream house, how? Okay, who finds it challenging? Okay, Nora says it's more challenging. Peter says it's difficult. What about the others? What are you feeling? Let me know. Is it tough? You know, are you finding it difficult to put it on paper? Yeah. Is everybody okay? More challenging. Okay, Hafiza. Okay, thank you. My dream house is more beautiful than I can ever draw. Okay. All right. Okay, here's the thing. Okay. All right. Okay, please take note on this. This is the challenge for most of us. You know, especially for us in Malaysia, this is our biggest challenge. You see, when we ask you to draw a pot, you know, it's easy because we do it from our memory. We remember. We know how a pot looks like, correct? We don't have to create it. You know, it's just a pot. So you draw it out. But when it comes to dream house, it's a challenge, it's a problem because we have to create. You guys agree? You see it in your mind. You see it. Wow, my dream house is going to be like this, like that. But our challenge is we cannot put it on paper. Yeah? So drawing the pot just now is a form of lower order visualization skills, loss. But creating the dream house and putting on paper is higher order visualization skill. So I know everyone here is brilliant. You know, you guys are great thinkers. You have the ability of higher order thinking skills. But what makes us not productive or reduces our productivity is our inability to visualize and put our ideas on paper effectively. Not that I'm saying you cannot, you can, but it is not effective. So based on our trainings, you know, Dr. Zaimi has trained more than 8,000 people. You know, don't worry if you cannot draw your dream house. Don't worry when you say, oh, it's so tough, it's so challenging. She has trained more than 8,000 people. Majority can only do 60 to 70% visualization. So what does that mean? When you implement, the outcome will be 60 to 70%. Yeah? All right? So that is the point that we want to bring to you. Okay? So why? Why does this happen? This happens because we are a visual society. We function as a visual society. What's different today is that conversation is visual. As you listen to the video, right, just now, yeah, if you have visual, people get things easily. For example, today, you know, our slides is not just text. We put in visual, we put in the right colors, we put in the right video to make it more engaging so that you understand better. Why? Because that is how we function. We are visual people. We are visual creatures. And if you look today, nowadays, with all the apps, you know, like TikTok, IG, YouTube, and whatnot, people tend to go on videos more. Am I right? People want to see visual more. You know, they're sick and tired of reading just text. So that's why when we communicate, we must have the ability to put it on paper. We have to be able to draw, not just text it out. Then we can become powerful and effective communicators. So if you have the chance, try to read this book, you know, by Dan Rom, Draw to Win. It will give you a different insight on what it means to be in a visual society. Yeah. So you can read this book. It's a very good book. It's a very powerful book. Yeah. All right. So basically, at the end of the day, to function properly, we need these 3 domains. Number 1 is the ability to think, you know, to generate ideas, the thinking process. This one, I know everyone here are super brilliant people. You guys can think great, all right? No problem on the thinking process, all right? The hard part is communicating what you are thinking, the ideas, how to share it. Because once you can communicate effectively, then you can implement the ideas. Okay, look. Okay, the book. All right, I just go back. Okay, you guys can screenshot Draw to Win by Dan Rom. Yeah, Cik Ahmad Termizi, hope you got it. Yeah, don't worry, if you didn't get it, we'll text to Tuan Haji. Yeah, Draw to Win by Dan Rom. All right, fantastic. Okay, so if you look at these slides, you look on the right, the top technology trends of 2022. All right, this is by McKinsey and Company. Can you imagine these slides having just text? Would it be effective? Without the visuals? I can guarantee you it will be so much difficult just to absorb. And would it be effective? It would, if it's just visuals. It will be the same problem. And in VCTF, we are going to share with you, why you need text and visual. And this is comprehensive. We're not going to train you to do digital like this. This is comprehensive. What we want to do is instant communication. So we're just sharing you this diagram so that you can see the impact, once you have text and visual. So can you imagine when you're talking to people, let's say you're in a meeting, your boss saying something that you tell your boss, okay, this is what I understand based on your instructions. You put it on paper, you put in some text, and you draw out what you understood. I can tell you. Your boss can see that you understand and you can go out of the meeting room happier. You know why? Because effective communication has happened. And then you want to be safe, you ask your boss, please sign. This is what you want. So that when you come back later, you show your boss, boss, you agreed, this is what you want. Yeah. So that is what we are going to focus on when we do the VCTF training. Yeah. So this is what will happen, if you are communicating without VCTF, let's say you're presenting text, or just slide, you look down there. You got your idea, the thinking process, but you are not communicating effectively. The implementation, the output. Look, can you see, we are using visual to show the idea. For a less effective group, the output will be small. But if you look, communication with VCTF, you incorporate visual, diagrams, drawing, people become more interested. This is interesting. You look at the output. Guys, can you see the diagram below? This is just simple drawing. But is it powerful? It's a complex idea, all right? Something complex to explain verbally if I'm just talking. But when you look at the diagram, you immediately understand. Correct? You can see the output. It becomes so powerful. So this will produce dynamic results, increase productivity. So that is the idea of VCTF. Yeah. Okay. So do you know? This one I'm just emphasizing again. We will lose 100 million in 3 years if we do not try to resolve miscommunication in our organization. That is a fact. 100 million. So why do we do this statement? How can we prove it? Okay. Let's do another exercise. Sorry guys, I got 3 exercises for you. I promise you this is the last one for today. All right. Okay, everybody, grab a piece of paper. All right. I want you to draw out this. Just imagine that I'm your boss. So I'm telling you guys, okay, all right, about John. So I want you to draw John based on this description. All right. So let's say this is a report or a written statement or your boss giving instruction. All right. So are you ready? Okay. So number 1, John has a round face. Number 2, John has a sharp nose. Number 3, John has bushy eyebrows. Number 4, John has slit eyes. Number 5, John has straight hair. Number 6, John has a long and wide ears. And number 7, John has a wide mouth. So I'm giving you guys about 1 to 2 minutes to come out with John. So that is the instruction. So, Haji is smiling already. Are you done already? Can you show your John? Okay, that's Haji's John. All right. Okay. So if you guys can on your camera, you want to share, feel free. Draw out your John and show it to us. Peter? Okay, that's Peter's John. Huh? All right. Okay. Everybody done? Hafiza? All right, that's Hafiza's John. Okay. What about the rest? Nobody else? Okay, Esther. All right, I see your John. Okay. All right, good job, everyone. If you were physically, then we could high five everybody for a good job. All right, so just imagine this instruction came from your boss or from your client, or you're listening it from a meeting or discussion, or you're watching a video. All right. All right, so you have to come out with a John. Okay, so everybody got their John, right? Everybody done? What about the others? All good? If you're good, type 1 so that I can proceed. Just need to make sure everybody got their John. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much for responding. Okay, guys, this is the John that I want. Okay, now in your chat box, over 100. Out of 100, put in the percentage when you look at your John and the John that I want. Is it 100% or how much? You evaluate, do a self-evaluation. What is your percentage? Please type in the chat box. Wow, she's up there, 98%, fantastic. All right, Hafiza, 5%. Come on, guys, can you share? Just put in there, honestly, what the John that you drew and the John that we want. Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I'll just do a quick calculation, I'll average it out. It's more in the range of maybe 60% like that, correct? All right, so can you imagine you're getting this instruction from your boss and you're coming back with your drawing, let's say if you are only at 60% like that, would your boss be upset? Or let's say your client, gave the instruction and you come back with this drawing, and would your client be upset? What do you guys think? How many would have loved, why didn't you show us the picture earlier? Then it would be easier. Would that be better? You gave the instruction and showed the John picture. Would that be better? How many think like that? If you agree with me, say yes. It would be better if, you gave the instruction and show the John that you want. Correct?
Yes, definitely.
Definitely, correct?
Yeah.
So that is what's happening, Haji. In most cases, bosses give instruction, or we give instruction, or we receive instruction, but we fail to visualize on paper. Can you imagine if you ask your boss, can you draw it a bit so that I understand? Or you draw it and show to the boss, is this what you want? So that is the idea of VCTF. That is the ability to visualize through freehand and put it on paper. And we are emphasizing instant communication, guys. This is not comprehensive because we don't have time. Let's say you go see your boss say, okay, show me what you understand. You cannot tell your boss, wait, I go and do a slide. We don't have time. You need to have the ability to be able to put on paper, boss, is this what you want? All right. So when you look at this, it's 60-70%. So we are making losses around 30 to 40%. Correct? Every time we communicate based on the figures that you are sharing with us. Right? So that is where the companies make all the losses. So I hope you get a better understanding on what our training is all about. Yeah. So this is what happens. All right. So when we miscommunicate, we tend to conduct more meetings. Yeah. So this involves costs. Of course, number one is time, and then energy, more electricity, and then resources, paper, and then maybe other matters. For example, emotional matters. For example, you had one meeting, you're supposed to settle it, and then on that day, you promise your son to celebrate birthday together. And then suddenly boss says, this is not what I want, you have to stay back. So you have to call your son, sorry, that can't make it for your birthday. What's going to happen? I tell you, the emotional cost, wow, is crazy. You can never calculate the value. Yeah? But it happens. People get stressed out all because of simple miscommunication. Yeah? So when you have good communication, effective communication, you're communicating good already. You're doing great already. But we can guarantee you with VCTF, you can do amazing. You can do wonders. Right? You can cut down on your meetings. You can save on time, energy, and whatnot. And, your productivity will just increase. Yeah. So what are we proposing? So we are proposing in collaboration with Tuan Haji Sofian's company, we are hoping to conduct our first VCTF training in Brunei sometime in September. Is that correct, Tuan Haji? Yeah.
Yes.
So it will be a 2-day training program. So in this 2-day training program, we will focus on the VCTF model. On the first day, we will focus on FVC, fundamental, visualization, and how to create. And then on day 2 is all about application, how to simplify. So our courses, our training program is 20 to 30% theory, 70 to 80% practical. I can guarantee you nobody will fall asleep. Nobody. In the history of doing this training, nobody fallen asleep. We will push you to the limit. We will push you to the max. You will be challenged on how you can communicate effectively. And at the same time, you are going to have so much fun. And we hope that you can bring this and create a culture in your organization with the VCTF modules that we will be sharing, inshallah. Yeah. All right. So that is basically it from me. All right. So hopefully you have a better idea what is VCTF. Now I'm going to pass it back to Tuan Haji and we will open for any Q&A. On the Q&A part, I will let my Sifu or the creator and owner of VCTF, Dr. Ruzaimi, to answer your question. Or before that, maybe Dr. Ruzaimi wants to share something. No?
Thank you very much, Coach. I think you already done a very good job. I think it's very clear on your explanation. Just waiting for Q&A if I can answer the question. If not, I'll try to make another research on that. Okay, I pass back to Haji Sofian. If anything, I'll try to answer that. Okay, Haji.
Thank you, Coach Amirul and Dr. Ruzaimi. I hope everybody has a good understanding or idea what it is. So if you have any questions, just raise your hands or just unmute and speak over the microphone. So we've got plenty of time really. So got 10 minutes before the closing at 11. But yeah, if you have any questions, as Coach Amirul mentioned, we are planning to do the face-to-face physical and bringing Coach Amirul and Dr. Ruzaimi to Brunei, and we hope to do that in September this year. Hopefully, we'll get a lot of participants so that we could do it that soon. Then, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Any question would do. Just to let you know, when I was first introduced VCTF, I didn't understand what it was. So I had to have sort of this coaching session with both Dr. Ruzaimi and Coach Amirul just to give us a further understanding of what it is. I hope everybody's got that. But if you don't have any questions, please do ask. Peter, anything? Otherwise, I'll pick on each one.
I was wondering, like I'm very bad in drawing since I was in primary school. Do you need to have a grip on drawing skill? That's my question. Would it be a disadvantage if those who don't have?
Okay, very good question, Peter. Trust me on this. Most of my participants, when I did my trainings, nobody really wants to put their hands, claiming that they are very good in drawings. Majority of them normally at 0 to 20% ability to draw. Do you realize that I've got a book published in US and translated to Japanese language? That one is the technique that where I train people, that those who don't have the ability to draw. You will stay with me for 3 hours, then you'll see wonders from there. Yeah, it's happened to a lots of my participants when they did the training, the techniques that I showed to them within 3 hours, they can draw very well.
Okay. Oh, I'll trust you on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward
Peter.
to it. Yeah, definitely. Because I tell you, I can't draw.
No worries,
Peter,
no
Peter.
worries, Peter.
Yeah.
Peter, don't worry. I'm in the same boat. I'm exactly like you. You know, in Malaysia, when you cannot play soccer, they say you kaki bangku, right?
Yeah. Same in
So
Brunei.
me,
Yeah.
I cannot draw. It's like my tangan bangku, something like that. No,
Okay.
seriously. When I first came to Dr. Zaimi, I cannot draw. You know, because the last time my drawing class was way back when I was 15 years old, Form 3, Pendidikan Seni, back in Malaysia. Then I never drew anything. But
believe,
Dr. Ruzaimi's techniques, very powerful, very simple. Powerful and simple. Everybody can draw. Confirm.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Thank you for the answer, for the assurance.
Yeah.
So next time you'll draw better John, I think, Peter.
Oh yeah, that was the key. Yeah.
You will see.
That's
You will
the
see
aim.
wonders. You will see wonders from there. You will see
Okay,
wonders.
looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Anybody else? Thanks for the question, Peter. Interesting. I think it applies to most of us here.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Nora,
Yes. Nora.
is animation and freehand something alike?
Okay.
Animation
Yeah.
and freehand,
Very clear.
something alike?
Yeah, for information in communication, in visual communication, we have two types of communication. One is freehand and another one is digital. The one that you mentioned just now is animation is fall into digital visualization. That means it's fall into comprehensive communication, not instant communication. The only one that fall into instant communication on visual is freehand. Others like animation, virtual reality, and then now is artificial intelligence visualization. That one is falls under comprehensive communication. So we are not going to train you on animation. We are going to train you to make sure that your tangan hidup. That is the main objective. Okay.
I have a few cerpens, short stories.
Yes.
How does freehand help?
VCTF.
So that
Very good question.
people don't read my cerpen,
You are the
but they
writer.
can
You are the writer.
the visuals of my cerpens.
You are the writer. Okay. Interesting about this VCTF. When you come into our training, we will train you on to how to freehand visualize your ideas. Interesting. You have a lot. You have your cerpen or you have your essays. It is good nowadays. You have your cerpen or you have your essays, and then from that essays, you yourself visualize those ideas. And in our training, we train you on how to visualize that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You will train us. Means the cerpen writers.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
It's open to everybody because
Okay,
if you ask me who should acquire the skills, everybody.
Okay.
Either you are teachers, either you are CEOs, either you are support staff, either you are management, even you are cleaners. You need to acquire the skill. For example, like cleaners, if they, let us say, they clean a room, then they find a dompet, for example, a purse, and then they want to mention to the bosses that they found that in the room where, so they have to draw.
Okay.
They cannot just mention I found it in the room. So when the boss asks them, where do you find that? In a room. You cannot do that. You have to draw. So if you ask me who should be able who should acquire the skills, everyone. And then you have to remember this. Communication only happen when you are coding and decode. When you are able to code and the one who receive and decode your information very well, then your communication will become effective. So that's why if you ask me, everyone has to acquire this.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Trust me on this. You have two choices in our life. Either you want to be a copier or you want to become a creator. Okay. A template culture is not very good in organization because you train people to copy and then you train your mind to copy. And then from that issue, from that problem, you will train your mind to copy, and then you don't train your mind to create. Once you do that, I'm very sure your organization will will produce at 60 to 70% the productivity. The reason why, because our mind, we train them to copy. So that's why it's not good. We create a template culture in our organization. So my suggestion is, okay, it's different. It's like this. When you want to do a slides for an organization, they have a ready-made template for the slides. Then it's okay. That one is okay because to maintain the brand of the companies, that is okay. But when it comes to creation ideas, you cannot depending on templates. You have to draw and visualize by your own. Okay, and then the next one is we have a lot of softwares today that can assist you to make a beautiful slides. Actually, beautiful slides is the next process before you want to do a presentation. Actually, if I can draw, Haji Sofyan, let me share my.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
This is how I explain to people, especially when you want to use template. There's a three process. 1, 2, 3. The most critical part is idea creation. This is where VCTF come in. Once you are okay with that, then it comes to slides, presentation. If anybody got an opportunity to be in a PowerPoint presentation training, the real protocol that PowerPoint asks you to do is 1, 2, 3. First, you need to freehand storyboarding your ideas. Storyboard your ideas. That means you have to draw. And then once you draw, then you put it on slides. Then you put it on slides. Then you do your presentation. This one. So what it means that's why what I want to tell you is template maybe come into this end. Template for your organization, not for your ideas. So that is my answer. Okay, hopefully very clear on that. Now, that is how I use, you see, instant communication. I draw, and then I want to share my ideas. This is how we should do. It's a very good question, whether we can draw cartoons during our presentation. Okay, you have to remember this. One first question, is it cartoons or comical graphic is important in that presentation? That is the first question. If it's not, then it's not a requirement. For example, like just now that I did, do I have to draw a cartoon figure to highlight my ideas? No. But in certain ideas, yes. For example, like this, I share it again, sorry. Okay, for example, I want to show an idea. That is a comical, I have to share, that is comical, but very, very abstract on human figure. I don't have to draw a real cartoons. So that's why cartoons composition is good on comprehensive communication, not instant communication. Just to add some more, trust me on this. I've already trained more than 8,000 participants around Malaysia. I'm worried actually. The reason why I'm worried, because based on my data, majority of us cannot create. If we are not if we can't create, then we are going to become a user society. We are depending on other people's technology to help us to develop. So VCTF is one of the core to help people to create. If we don't have VCTF, the creation mind is less effective compared to those who acquire VCTF skills. Another one is digital era. If I can share, share another ideas. This is also crucial. I did found in my training program. This is what's happened today. This is digital, this is freehand. Now, the ability of freehand becomes lesser
Yes.
for a human, and then digital become a lot higher. So what will happen? We are too depending on digital to create. And then digital takes time to help us to create. Okay? So what we need to do is, by acquiring VCTF, we should be able to do this. We cannot against digital era because we are in digital era. We have to be in digital era. I'm not against digital era. We are in digital era. We have to be in digital era. But in the same time, we have to nurture freehand to make us able to become more effective than before. Okay, so that's why I really put my effort to help organization, especially corporate, to acquire VCTF, because I can see the problem will be facing by us 20 years from now, because we are too depending on digital.
Okay, probably coming out from that is majority of those attending the talk today, safety officers who work at site.
Very critical.
Unfortunately, at site we don't have the luxury of a whiteboard. So how do we actually improvise? How do we communicate in using techniques of VCTF?
Very good question. You have iPad with you. You have whatever Samsung gadget or electronic gadgets with you, or you have a piece of you have a file and then A4 paper. Then you have to draw on that piece of paper. If you want to have a bigger size of paper, then you can bring the A3 board with you, with A3 paper. Then you draw it on that. So that is very crucial, especially for safety officers. Very crucial, very, very crucial.
Yeah.
So guys, so another tool to bring to site, huh?
Yeah, you've got no choice. You've got no choice. Your instruction must be understood fully. If not, it's very, very critical for HSE.
Yeah, actually, just to share with you guys, sometimes we think it's for just complicated things, but it's as simple as giving directions, instructions. So from what I can share, for example, my son, he's asking me to come to school for report card day. So it's a new school. So he started to giving me instruction, that you come in through the second gate, you see this first building, then you go left, you see another building, you go further up, see another building, you find the surau, and then you find the staircase, you go to the third floor, that's my class. I'm like, what? I won't get there. So I told him, can you draw? So the first thing he said, I cannot draw. My draw is not nice. It's not beautiful. I told him it's not about a nice drawing. It's about communicating. So he drew. So I used his drawing to get to the class. Even if there was no people out there, for me to ask for instruction, I can get to class. So that alone is, communication. It's as simple as that. So just to share, after attending Dr. Uzaimi's training at my house, we have a big whiteboard beside the dining table. In my room with my wife, we have another whiteboard. So that we put everything there so that we can see clearly. Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay. Yeah, I just recently bought the whiteboard 6x4.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, so any other remarks or questions, guys? Yeah, we've come to the hour mark. I've got this reminder from Zoom, but I do appreciate you, everyone, logging in and joining us today. Thank you very much, and thank you for the interactive participation and indeed those very valuable questions that you have. As we said earlier, that we are planning a face-to-face physical session or in September, but we'll confirm the date. If you are interested to join then, please do drop me a line. I could share with you my contacts later on, but most of you do know that. So again, thank you Coach Amirul, and thank you Dr. Uzaimi. Very, very open our minds, hopefully, with regards to what VCTF is and how that can enhance our communication. So thank you very much, everybody. Let me just share this last slide with you. So that's my contact number and my contact details. Yeah, so just do please get in touch with me, and indeed I will share with you once we confirm the dates in September. Okay, so thanks everyone. I hope to see everyone soon, and yeah, as soon as before September, hopefully, or in September.